Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera to all my lovely girls. Alright, so today we are going to learn the new chapter. Right, chapter 11, immunity in humans. Chapter 11, immunity in humans. So I hope you can relate this chapter with the world health issues that we are coping now. It is about the COVID-19 infection. So it is a viral or virus infection, right? Okay, so in this chapter 11, you have to learn a 4 subtopic. 4 subtopic. So for today, we are going to cover the first subtopic, which is 11.1 body defense. Body defense. Alright. So let's take a look on the learning standards that you have to understand for today. Okay, first, you are able to define what is the immunity, what is the antigen, what is the antibody. And then second one, you have to describe the 3 lines of body defense in humans. Okay, that are referred to the first line of defense, second line of defense, and last one is third line of defense. Okay, so let's go to the introduction of the body defense. Okay, so the body defense system, sistem pertahanan badan, reacts. The body defense system reacts when pathogens infect the body. When the pathogen infect the body. So what is a pathogen? A pathogen is a microorganism that causes disease. It is a bad microorganism that causes disease. Example of pathogen include bacteria. Example of the pathogens are bacteria. Singular refer to the bacterium, or the virus, and also the parasites. The pathogens can only cause disease if they successfully infect our body cells. Right? So I repeat, the pathogen can only cause disease. We will get this disease if if the pathogens successfully infect our body cells. Or in other words, we will get the disease if the pathogens enter into our body. Alright? Okay. So the body defense system recognizes pathogens as foreign particles known as antigens. The body defense system recognizes pathogen as foreign particles known as antigens. So what is antigen? Antigens are foreign particles that enter the body and subsequently stimulate the immune response. Okay, that are referred to the antigens. So antigens refer to the foreign particles. So once the pathogen enter into the body, so the body defense system recognize the pathogen as antigen. As antigen. So it will stimulate the immune response. Okay, antigen stimulate the lymphocyte. Okay, do you still remember the lymphocyte? The lymphocyte is a type of the white blood cells of the leucocytes. So it will produce the antibodies. The lymphocyte will produce antibodies into the blood flow to destroy the antigen. Okay, so what is the antibodies? Antibodies are proteins found on the lymphocyte surface or proteins released by lymphocytes into the blood plasma. Or in other words, antibodies refer to the proteins that produced by the lymphocytes, produced by the lymphocytes and released into the blood plasma. The interaction between the antibodies and antigens, the interaction between antibodies and antigens that cause antigens to be destroyed is called the immune response. The interaction between antibodies and the antigens that cause antigens to be destroyed is called the immune response. So actually, what is the meaning of the immunity? Immunity is the body's ability to fight infection caused by pathogen or other foreign object through specific attacks on the pathogen. Alright, so I repeat. So what is the immunity? Immunity is the body's ability to fight infection. Infection caused by the pathogens. Caused by the pathogens or the other foreign object through. By how? By specific attacks on the pathogen. That is referred to the definition of the immunity. So when our body can fight a disease, we are said to be immune to that disease. Alright, so when our body can fight a disease, we are said to be immune to that disease. Alright, so now let's go to the lines of defense to fight against the disease. There are 3 lines of defense to fight against the disease. Dalam badan kita ni ada tiga barisan pertahanan. Barisan pertahanan untuk melawan sebarang jangkitan. Alright, so what are they? The first line of defense, and then the second line of defense, and the third line of defense. So during the infection, the first line of defense will act first. And then if the first line of defense cannot defense, so the second line of defense will cope it. And if the second line of defense also cannot cope with the infection, the third line of defense will cope to the infection. Alright, that is referred to the lines of defense to fight against the disease. Now let's go to the first line of defense. The first line of defense consists of the physical and chemical lineup that prevent pathogen from entering the body. So what is the objective of the first line of defense? This first line of defense will prevent the pathogen from entering the body. Prevent the pathogen from entering the body. So the first line of defense consists of the physical barrier and also chemical barrier. So the first line of defense is the defense line that is not specific. It's not specific. It is in general. It just defends in general and act to prevent the pathogen from entering the body. So what is the objective of the first line of defense? It is to prevent the pathogen from entering the body. Right, so these are referred to the example. And this is referred to the example of the first line of defense. What is that? Lysozyme. So what is a lysozyme? Lysozyme is referred to the enzyme. Alright, enzyme or lysozyme can be found in the secretion of tears. Secretion of the tears, nasal mucus, and also saliva. As you can see from the diagram here. So this is referred to the secretion of the saliva. So our saliva contains lysozyme. And this is referred to the tears. Yeah? Tears also contain lysozyme and also mucus secretion. Yeah? Mucus secretion also contain saliva. It is referred to the first line of defense. Yeah? It is an antimicrobial protein. Antimicrobial. Yeah? It will act on the microorganism. It will kill the microorganism. Yeah? That can dissolve and destroy some types of bacteria. Right? So this lysozyme can dissolve and destroy some types of bacteria. Okay, and the second example of the first line of defense, right? It is mucous membrane. Yeah, mucous membrane, right? So mucous membrane can be found, yeah, can be found, or we can find, yeah, the mucous membrane that lines the respiratory tract. Yeah, line the respiratory tract. Yeah, our respiratory tract consists of the mucous membrane. Yeah, so respiratory tract is starting from the trachea. Yeah, and then into the bronchus, and then into the bronchiole. Alright, so that is referred to the respiratory tract. So the mucous membrane in the that lines the respiratory tract will secrete a sticky fluid called mucus. Yeah, will secrete a sticky fluid called a mucus. So inside our trachea, inside our bronchus, bronchiole, there are mucus. Yeah, there are mucus. So the mucus also contains lysozyme. Yeah, also contains lysozyme that destroy bacteria found in the air that enters the respiratory system. Okay, then we go to the next first line of defense. Okay, what are they? The mechanism of the blood clotting. So we already learned the mechanism of the blood clotting in the chapter 10. You still remember that? Right. So the blood clotting mechanism prevents the bacteria from entering the body through wounds. Yeah, through wounds. So this is important. Okay. The mechanism of the blood clotting, right? So why it is important? To prevent the bacteria, to prevent the pathogen enter into our body through the wounds, yeah, through the injury. Alright, okay, next we go to the hydrochloric acids. Okay, hydrochloric acid also one of the first line of defense. Okay, so hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Yeah, we can find the hydrochloric acid in the stomach that secreted by our stomach wall. Do you still remember what type of cells in the stomach wall that release or secrete the hydrochloric acid? So what is the cell? Alright, so what is the cell? It is a parietal cell. Yeah, parietal cells of our stomach wall. Yeah, stomach wall will secrete the hydrochloric acid. Yeah, hydrochloric acid has a pH 2, right? Okay, so the pH 2 is very acidic. Yeah, it's very acidic that can destroy the bacteria that present in the food and also drinks. Okay, that is referred to the hydrochloric acid, which is one of the first line of defense. Okay, now let's take a look on the skin. Yes, skin is referred to the physical barrier of the first line of defense. Yeah, the physical barrier of the first line defense. Yeah. It is the physical defense that prevents the entry of the pathogens, yeah, because it is tough and it is difficult for microorganisms to penetrate. Right, so the continuous shedding of the dead cells layer on the skin surface makes it difficult for various types of the microorganism to grow. So as you can see from the diagram here, so this is referred to the dead cells of the skin. So these dead cells will prevent, it is tough, and it will prevent the microorganism or the pathogen enter into the body. Okay, act as a chemical shield. So skin also act as a chemical shield through the secretion of sebum. So what is a sebum? Sebum refers to the oily substance, a waxy substance that's secreted by sebaceous gland, sebaceous glands of the skin. Okay, oil and acid in the sebum. Okay, oil and the acid in the sebum. So the oil and acid in the sebum will prevent the growth of various types of the microorganism. So for you all information, so the sebum will protect our skin, will cause the skin moisturize and also will protect the skin. Sweat, sweat secreted by the skin contains lysozyme. Besides sebum, there are also sweat. So sweat secreted by the skin contains lysozyme. So a type of the enzyme that breaks down the cell wall of some bacteria. So that is referred to the skin. Okay, next we go to the second line of defense. Second line of defense. So once the pathogen enter into the body, so once the pathogen enter into the body, or in other words, the first line of defense cannot stand, cannot stand of the entering of the pathogen. So the second line of defense will stimulated. Alright, so the second line of defense is fever, phagocytosis, and inflammation. The second line of defense is fever, phagocytosis, and inflammation. So the mechanism of the second line of defense is also not specific. It's not specific. Okay, we go to the fever. Fever. So fever is the second line of defense mechanism that fight infections. It can fight with the infections. So fever increases phagocytic activity and fight against microorganisms that infect the body. Fever increase phagocytic activity. Phagocytic activity refer to the activity of the phagocytosis. And fight against microorganisms that infect the body. Okay, so next we go to the phagocytosis that just now refer to the fever. Okay, now we go to the phagocytosis. Okay, so the phagocyte is a leucocyte that can carry out phagocytosis. Phagocyte refer to the leucocyte that carry out phagocytosis. Okay, neutrophils and monocytes are phagocytes. You still remember the neutrophils? The neutrophils is one of the leukocyte and also monocytes. Monocyte also one of the leukocyte. So both of these leukocytes, which are neutrophils and monocytes, are phagocytes. Okay, what do you mean by the phagocytes? Refer to the cell that carry out phagocytosis. That are referred to the phagocytes. Okay, what is a phagocytosis? Phagocytosis is the process by which microorganisms or other particles such as dead cells are trapped and digested by phagocytes. Okay, so I repeat, phagocytosis is the process by which microorganisms or other particles such as dead cells are trapped. They are trapped and digested by phagocytes. by phagocyte. By phagocyte. That are referred to the phagocytosis. So now we go to the steps in the phagocytosis, or the stages in the phagocytosis. So when the infection occurs, the phagocytes move to the infected area. Okay, the phagocyte will move to the infected area and enter the tissue fluid through the pores of the capillary walls. Okay, when a phagocyte encounters a pathogen, the phagocyte will engulf the pathogen and the lysozyme. Lysozyme in the phagocyte will digest the pathogen. Alright, so this is referred to the phagocyte. Phagocyte that carry out phagocytosis. Okay, so what happened to the pathogen? So once the phagocyte reach to the infected area whereby the bacteria located there, so the phagocytes will trap and engulf. Trap and engulf. So this is referred to the engulf. Engulf and digest the pathogen. Digest the pathogen through lysozyme. Lysozyme inside the phagocytes. Okay, next we go to the stages in the phagocytosis. Stages in the phagocytosis. Okay, first, phagocyte extends its pseudopodium towards the bacterium and envelops the bacteria. So this is referred to the pseudopodium of the phagocyte. So the pseudopodium will extend to the bacteria and then it will envelop or engulf the bacteria. Okay, second one, bacterial ingestion will form phagosome. Bacterial ingestion will form the phagosome. So this is referred to the phagosome. And then number 3, phagosome combine with lysosome. With the lysosome that secrete lysozyme into the phagosome. Phagosome combined with the lysosome. This is referred to the lysosome. Phagosome will combine with the lysosome and will form the phagolysosome. So the lysosome will secrete the lysozyme. So the lysozyme will destroy the bacteria. Okay, number 4, bacterium in the phagosome is destroyed by the lysozyme. And then what happened? The bacterium decompose. It will break off. Break down. And then the number 5, phagocyte expels the remains of the digested microorganism out of the cell. Okay, that are referred to the phagocytosis stages. Okay, I hope you can remember. The second line of defense refer to the fever and also phagocytosis. And last one is inflammation. Okay, inflammation. Inflammation is the immediate response that destroys and neutralizes harmful action of microorganisms and toxins at the early stages of infection. Okay. The inflamed area will swell, turn red and feel painful. It is referred to the characteristics of the inflamed area. So what happened to the inflamed area? It will swell. Swell, turn red and feel painful. Okay, now we go to the inflammation or inflammatory response here. Okay. So the inflammatory response started when, number 1, the damaged tissue release histamine. The damaged tissue release histamine. Histamine will stimulate the immediate inflammatory response. Okay, so histamine refers to the protein that stimulate the immediate inflammatory response. Okay, number 2, histamine will cause the blood capillaries to expand for more blood to flow to the infected area. Histamine also increases the permeability of blood capillaries to the phagocytes. So the phagocytes and clotting factors will accumulate in the infected area. Again, number 3, the blood clotting mechanism is triggered. And number 4, the phagocytes carry out phagocytosis. Okay, these are referred to the inflammatory response. Yeah? Once the tissue or the cells are injured. Yeah, injured. Okay, I repeat what happened. The damaged tissue will release the histamine. Histamine will cause the blood capillaries to expand for more blood to flow to the infected area, and also it will increase the permeability of the blood capillaries to the phagocytes, and the phagocytes and clotting factors will accumulate at the infected area, and it will trigger the blood clotting mechanism. And last one, phagocyte carry out phagocytosis. Okay, so as you can see from the diagram here, so once the cell or the tissue is injured, what happened? The histamine. Okay, histamine will be released by the damaged tissue, and it will create or it will start the inflammatory response. Alright. And last one, what happened? The phagocytes carry out phagocytosis, and it will destroy the bacteria. Destroy the bacteria that enter into the body. Okay, next we go to the third line of defense. Third line of defense. Okay, if pathogen overcome the second line of defense, if the pathogen overcome the second line of defense, means that if the pathogen is still can fight with the second line of defense and successfully enter into the body, so the third line of defense will be activated. The third line of defense will be activated. So the third line of defense is the immune response of the lymphocyte. The third line of defense is the immune response of the lymphocyte. Okay, the lymphocyte formed in the lymph nodes produce antibodies. Okay, the lymphocyte formed in the lymph node produce antibody. So this is referred to the antibodies. This is referred to the structure of the antibodies. So the action of antibody is specific. It's not like the first line of defense and also the second line of defense, which are not specific. But the third line of defense or the action of the antibody is specific. Specific. What does it mean by specific? Each type of antibody can and only combine with a certain type of antigen. Each type of antibody can only combine with a certain type of antigen. So when a person is infected with a pathogen, when a person is infected with a pathogen, a large number of the lymphocyte will accumulate in the lymph node, to destroy the antigen and also foreign particles. So this will cause the lymph nodes to swell. So during the infection, we can feel that our lymph nodes swollen. Our lymph node swollen. Okay, the lymph nodes. Okay, sorry, here this is referred to the nodes. The lymph nodes also contain macrophage. Macrophage that destroy bacteria, dead tissue, and foreign particles through phagocytosis. Okay, so what is a macrophage? Macrophage refer to the monocytes. Monocytes. Okay, that will destroy the bacteria dead tissue and also foreign particle by phagocytosis. Okay, so the lymphocytes are divided into two types. Okay, what are they? T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. Okay, the T lymphocytes attack cells infected by pathogen. Okay, so the T lymphocyte will attack the cell infected by pathogen. Yeah? Okay, and then the T lymphocyte also stimulate B lymphocyte. So B lymphocyte will produce memory cells. Yeah? If the same pathogen attacks, the memory cells will be stimulated to produce antibodies immediately. Okay, that I refer to the two types of the lymphocyte. What are they? T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. T lymphocyte will attack, the pathogen. Will attack the cells infected by the pathogen, whereby the B lymphocyte will produce the memory cells. So the memory cell is very important to stimulate the produce antibodies immediately if the same pathogens attacks for the second time, third time, and for the continuous infection. Okay, so this is referred to the immune response. Yeah, this is referred to the immune response. So as we can see here, so this is referred to the lymphocyte. Okay, so this is referred to the lymphocyte. Alright, so on the surface of the lymphocyte, there is antibodies. Yeah, antibodies. And then what happened? The antibodies will act on the antigen here. Will act on the antigen, and then it will destroy the antigen. Right? Okay, so that's how the immune response occurs in the third line of defense. Alright, so I hope you can understand our subtopic today with the body defense. Okay, so at the end of this lesson, you should know the meaning of the antigen, the antibodies, and also the immunity. So again, what is the immunity? Immunity is the body's ability to fight infection that caused by the pathogen. Okay, that is referred to the immunity. The body's ability to fight against the infection. During the immunity or during the immune response, immune response. So there are three lines of defense of the bodies. Three lines of defense of the bodies to fight against the disease. Okay. So what are they? They are first line of defense. Okay. First line of defense. You have to remember the example of the first line of defense that refer to the secretion of the lysozyme through the tears, through the mucus, through the saliva. And also example of the first line of defense is mucous membrane. Yeah, mucus also secrete the lysozyme. And other examples of the first lines of defense is mechanism of the blood clotting. And last one is hydrochloric acid. And do not forget the skin. Yes, skin is referred to the physical barrier. The rest is the chemical barrier. So if the first line of defense cannot stand to the infection, the pathogen will enter into the body, and it will stimulate the second line of defense. Yeah. So what are the second line of the defense? They are referred to the fever, phagocytosis, and also inflammation. Yeah. Okay. And if the bacteria or if the pathogen still can enter into the body and enter into our blood flow, so it will trigger the third line of defense. Okay, so what are the third line of defense? It is immune response by lymphocytes. So what do the lymphocytes do? The lymphocyte will produce an antibody, and it will fight against the pathogen. Okay, that are referred to the third line of defense. So I hope you can remember the examples of the first line of defense, the second line of defense, and also the third line of defense. How does it can protect or defend the body, right, against the infection. Alright, so that's all for today. I hope you can understand. Okay, please read again and again until you do really understand about this subtopic. Alright, thank you girls.